one, is he greater than your personal problems? I don't talk to people much about how I think, how I feel, that are on the clock with me. And so he caught me outside. Got to that cigar. And I said, sir, I said, do you know the Bible? He says, uh-huh. I said, I need you to look up 1 Thessalonians 4. Because you know what? His opinion is not my fault. Alright? People's opinion belongs to him. Our failure is sometimes in our eyes. And not in anybody else's. Probably because the devil's back there going, now, you know, that should have been a success, but it's not. Well, you know, that's his opinion. That's not God's opinion.
My memory of this whole "it's not your fault" business started because I had assumed the responsibility for the finances of the church. When there wasn't enough money, for some reason, I made a way to figure out that was my fault. When I had to juggle things around, I figured out a way to make that my fault. Now, understand, I'm saying I figured out a way to make it my fault. Because that's what we do, isn't it? When we're in charge of something.
She's making it her responsibility for the success.
Yeah. And what happened with that, this is what happens when you do that. Guess who plays the game with you?
The devil.
The devil. And he loves to play the fault game, and he's so much better at it than we are. He's so much better.
Well, she and I had talked about it on a Sunday, and we got together the next day.
Yes, you're right.
And I had talked to her, and I could tell she was not convinced. She said Mark had said the same things to her, same things that I had said. And I really can't remember exactly.
You're not doing anything wrong. It's not your problem. Everything you're doing is right. Are you listening to the Holy Spirit? Yes. You know this is God's church? Yes. I knew all the right answers. But when she got in the car with me the next morning, and she looked at me, and she said, I have a word for you.
And I just reached out and touched her like this.
And this turned it around for me. She goes, this is not your fault. When she said, it's not your fault, oh my gosh, the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. It was the fault that I was assuming onto myself. And the amazing thing about what happened after she said that to me, and I released that, I let it go immediately, it no longer had a hold on me. No longer. From that moment forward to this day, I do not carry the responsibility, fault, whatever, of the finances of this church on my shoulders anymore. And then the miraculous thing that happened, I don't know if anything happened in the real world or not, but guess what? All of a sudden, everything was fine. I'm not kidding. I don't know that anything changed but me. And what happened was I released the enemy from myself. I had the power in my tongue to release myself from his grasp. When she used the word fault on me, it's not your fault.
John, this is Jesus. Jesus, this is John. They shook hands and said, glad to meet you. My responsibility was over. Now, if Jesus and John become friends, that's their business. Because it's sort of like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him wear a bathing suit.
I have, personally, I've had some issues with this teaching myself, because it almost seems like you're splitting hairs. When you're saying it's not my fault, it's not my responsibility. I mean, it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. I did it, but I'm not held accountable for it. It just almost seems like you're just splitting hairs. But I looked up the definition, and responsible means being the primary cause of something. That is Webster's Dictionary. Fault means criticized for inadequacy or mistake. The difference is the criticism. And criticize, I looked it up, and it's the act of passing judgment. And there is only one person that is capable of judging me, and that's God. And if He is not holding it against me, then what does anybody else? I mean, yes, I may have caused it. Yes, I may need to clean up the mess, but it's not hovering over my head like a ton of bricks waiting to fall on me. The criticism was the thing that just really hit me, because God is not sitting up there saying, you did this, you dirty dog. You know you did it. Now you have to reap the consequences of it. He's up there saying, I'm taking care of it. And I'm going to help you take care of it.
That's exactly right. So if I think that, tell me what you're thinking about. Let me see. Let me just go ahead and read this from Dr. Barrington's notes here, because I'll mess it up if I try to paraphrase. How great is your God in your thinking? Tell me what you think about your God, and I will tell you how great He is in your thinking.